Hello, fellow cyborgs! Today I'm going to tell you about the Oops 11 books that I acquired since the beginning of 2017. So most of these weren't my fault. I mean, obviously I'm responsible for accepting gifts and books that I got for free from friends and family, etc., but I believe I only paid for 2 of these. Yeah, three of them. So it's fine. We're just gonna move right on because there's no point in talking about excuses. I just have to live up to the responsibility of my actions and whatever. Okay, books. This first one here is God Bless You, Mr. Rosebotter by Kurt Vonnegut Jr. Apparently, no one really says the junior, do they? This I actually bought at the end of 2016 but didn't have a chance to haul for you. This is the recommendation of one of my higher paying patrons. If you pledge a certain amount of money per month to my channel as a patron, then you can tell me to read a book, 1 book per year, which I have to read and then review on my channel. And this is what this gentleman picked. This will be the first Vonnegut I've ever read, though I have had intentions of reading Slaughterhouse-Five and Cat's Cradle before, but just haven't got to them. So hopefully I enjoy this, especially since Vonnegut is one of my best friend's favorite authors, so hopefully I will have something to chat with her about too. One more hopefully you will see this very soon on my channel. Just caught my hair there in my excitement. Okay. These next 3 are all Rhodes classics that a very wonderful subscriber, Marina, asked if I needed in my house. Apparently she had other copies of these 3 books that she preferred more and knew that I collected or am trying to collect Rhodes classics and said, "Hey, are you interested?" And I said, yes I am. The first one here is To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, which I read in 2016 and is one of my favorite books. Well, it's not like one of my favorites, but it's a book that I want to reread and reread and reread. I have some books that I want to reread for the rest of my life that aren't my favorites. It's weird, it's fine. So I'm very, very excited to have this very beautiful copy because the one I have is just, it's like a Wordsworth classic. It does not published very nicely. And had I been able to buy Rhodes Classics, this edition of To the Lighthouse would have been one of the ones I wanted to buy to get a pretty edition of a classic that I liked. Then we have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which is at the moment my favorite Charlotte Bronte and my favorite classic, but I think upon reading Villette that will change. And I'm so excited to have this. My copy of Jane Eyre, as you may have seen in other editions, it's like a Borders classic, and I have just underlined the bejesus out of it, like to an illegible way. Like, you can over underline books, you can over annotate books. So I didn't previously have a clean copy to read except for my Kindle, which I love my Kindle, but it's not as pretty. So I'm so glad to have, in my opinion, the prettiest edition of Jane Eyre now on my shelves. And then we did add a new book to my physical TBR shelf, that being Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert, and this is translated by Eleanor Marx Aveling. The 2 great woman has an affair with another man because she's bored with being a housewife in the 1800s novels include, you didn't know that was a subgenre, but it was, Madame Bovary and then Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I've already read Anna Karenina, and it was not as much about Anna as I was hoping, which is why it only got 3 out of 5 stars, even though the writing style I did like and, it wasn't an awful classic. But I was hoping for Anna Karenina to be more about that affair thing. So hopefully Madame Bovary will not disappoint. It's considerably shorter than Anna Karenina. Hopefully it will have less farming, tangents and stuff. So I'm excited to get to this year if my 0/18 has any chance of happening. So thank you once again, Marina. These were very, very special books and I appreciate you sending them to me, and I will think of you every time I see the beautiful spines on my shelves. This is The Alienist by Caleb Carr, and this is a hand-me-down. I think you should read this book from my mom, who got this for her birthday in the summer. This takes place in 1896 in New York City and has to deal with the infancy of behavioral analysis unit, criminal profilers is what we're talking about, and psychology and stuff like that. My mom read this and she enjoyed it, but she definitely thought that this would be a mystery that would probably pique my interest a lot, and when I recommended to her friends to get this for her, I was kind of thinking about me too, not gonna lie on that respect. So this has been added to my TBR. So far, that is 3 counts of new books to my TBR, and hopefully I will get to that this year as well. Then one of my dear friends was getting rid of some books culling her shelves, and these 2 books by Lloyd Alexander, who was one of her favorite authors from childhood, called to me, she said, them being The Cat Who Wished to Be a Man and Time Cat. So these are both fairly short children's middle grade chapter books, and they have cat protagonists. So another 2 more, so that's total to 5 books that have been added onto my TBR shelf, but these should be quick and hopefully fun and hopefully adorable additions to my cat book collection. Then I went to a library book sale with my friend and managed to see this guy on the shelves. Look at the cute painted edge. This is Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. I now have 3 Toni Morrisons on my shelves, and I have read none of her work, so hopefully I really enjoy it, but this old edition that no one wanted just called to me, and the front flap had a couple buzzwords that really piqued my interest, and it seemed to have some magical realism sorts of bits in there. So it says this book creates a magical world out of 4 generations of Black life in America, and our main character, Milkman, is born on the same day in which a lonely insurance man, Robert Smith, poised in blue silk wings, attempts to fly from the steeple of the hospital, a black Icarus looking homeward. Milkman grows up in his father's money-haunted, death-haunted house with his silent sisters and strangely passive mother. It sounds really cool, and I was supporting my library and it was $1. So I decided to just add this, perhaps unwisely, to my TBR. Now we're up to 6 books that I've added to my TBR. Hair, get out of my way. Hopefully, though, I will end up loving Toni Morrison, and if not, it's okay. I donate it to the library. If I don't love it, I get to 50 to 100 pages, say not for me, and I've only wasted a couple hours of time. But hopefully I'll be getting to Song of Solomon this month in February for Black History Month, and my hashtag Read Soul Lit, hashtag Black Writers Matter TBR. Then we will see. What I think of Toni Morrison. Then I went to Australia to visit a friend. Hi! I had the best time. It was absolutely wonderful, even though it was the Australian summer, and you guys know I am not okay with hot temperatures. It still was an absolutely bloomin' wonderful time. When I arrived, she surprised me with a belated Christmas gift, in which was this old, battered, adorable copy of Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. But I mean, look at the cuteness! She was kind enough to give me a book, oh, also end pages. I mean, a book that is no longer on, like, it's not a TBR. It's not a to be read. I have already read Anne of Green Gables, and the copies that I have of Anne of Green Gables, the set, came in a box set. They're not beautiful, but they're not hideous, but this will certainly be a lovely book to display front out for all to see. Then we went to a book fair, and I was a very good child, and while we were looking, I saw Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote, and I said, well, I'm not interested in reading Breakfast at Tiffany's, but if they have In Cold Blood, I would totally buy that, because Sophie from Portal in the Pages recently said that that is her #1 true crime book ever. And guess what? The Australian universe heard me, and they had this lovely copy of Truman Capote. So I have already read this, fortunately, so it's already off my TBR. And yes, so this was the one, that was a great transition, Amanda, and yes. So this was the one book that I bought at the book fair. My friend came away with 12, but we are not counting. It doesn't matter. So I'm very pleased that Australia listened to me and instantaneously gave me my wishes. Whilst we were shopping, my friend saw a very pretty copy of Ghost written by David Mitchell, and she's not written any David Mitchell. Of course she hasn't written any David Mitchell. She's not read any David Mitchell yet, though she did have one on her shelves that she started reading and wasn't really a fan of. So she decided to pick up Ghost written for herself as her first Mitchell, and to pass along to me the one she wasn't so crazy about, which is the one I wanted to read next, The Thousand Autumns of Jacob de Zoet, or Jacob de Zoet, or Jacob de Zoet. I am going to be buddy reading this with a subscriber, Karen, and we've decided that we are just going to pronounce this wonderful gentleman's name a different way every single time because we don't know, and I probably couldn't even get the pronunciation right if I did. So anyway, I hope you enjoy future talks about this guy whose name pronunciation will change. This is the next David Mitchell I wanted to pick up because it has a character in it that is in the Bone Clocks, but this was written first before the Bone Clocks, and this is also a historical fiction having to do with, I think he's a Dutchman, with someone from the European area, and he is in Japan and right at the time where it's blockaded in 1799, if that, like the trade blockade. It was, I'll know when I read it, okay? This definitely was piqued my interest, especially since the historical perspective, like the far historical perspective in Cloud Atlas was one of my favorite narratives. So I thought this would be another place, a good place to go from there. I'm done now though, so the blathering is fine. I hope you enjoyed this book haul. I added, what's the total count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books to my TBR in January. So that's a thing that we're just gonna have to deal with later. Well, I'm leaving you now because I'm apparently just being an absolute goober face. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below if you have accidentally acquired quite a few books in January already, or if it's been not so accidental and you're incredibly ecstatic over the books you've added to your shelves. I'm going to go now that I've blathered incessantly, and I hope that until next time, you continue to be lovely. And of course, thank you to my patrons, especially you, Carl, who recommended Vonnegut to me. Let's hope that I love it sincerely. I don't even know what adverb I was going for there. And I hope that you guys are continuing to enjoy my channel and, as always, are having a wonderful day.